Quite astonishing revelation yesterday by the US Justice Department. They have charged 3 people in what they're describing as a thwarted Iranian plot to assassinate Donald Trump before the presidential election. Let's talk more about that with Sir Richard Dalton, a former British ambassador to Iran. Sir Richard, thank you for coming on the programme this morning. I mean, quite a stunning allegation that's been made by the Justice Department. These claims very, very credible, I'd imagine.
Well, are they? First of all, the evidence that's been published is flimsy. The key person, Mr. Shakari, was let go by the American authorities. And why would they do that if this was such a serious matter? Secondly, the US government has a very strong interest and a strong history in dishing dirt on Iran, whether it's true or not. And thirdly, the corruption of US discourse on the Middle East, standing truth, justice, and law on its head in order to support Israel, has become so extreme that it's legitimate to distrust pronouncements of this kind until they are proved in a court of law.
But the suggestion, therefore, is that the Justice Department is somehow sort of manufacturing this alleged Iranian plot.
Well, I can't rule that out, but at the moment I suspend
the
judgment
US Justice Department,
on whether it was real or not. I mean, Iran undoubtedly uses threats of assassination, including active plots against Israeli targets. Yes. But then remember that it's mutual. It's a very dirty world out there in the Middle East.
It is.
And the United States condones Israeli assassinations of Iranians. And from the Iranian point of view, Trump has done untold harm to the Iranian people.
But of course, there's been a long-standing sort of tit-for-tat assassinations between Iran and Israel. Is it not the case that if there was a plot, and I hear your suspicion, but if there was a plot to assassinate Donald Trump, former US president, at the time US presidential candidate, that would be a dramatic escalation of Iranian activity?
Yes, it's a very serious matter. But let's not rush to judgment. Let's recognize that this is a very complex world around Iran. Trump's policies, as I said, from the Iranian point of view, did immense harm to the Iranian people. He also did immense harm to British interests by destroying the 2016 nuclear agreement with Iran, destroying it and putting in place alternative policies which have had the effect of driving Iran into hands which the Americans regard as hostile, namely Russia and China.
So the suggestion would be that if this allegation is correct, Iran might have wanted to take out Donald Trump to prevent a repeat of what happened last time around.
Possibly, but remember that the UK security authorities have interrupted a dozen or so plots against residents of the UK. And one wonders sometimes whether Iran could be putting scares into people, trying to destabilize the situation of exiles and other opponents of Iran, rather than seriously pursuing these plots to the end, namely putting a bullet in somebody. Because whether or not these plots were serious, or whether they were basically trying to unsettle people, hasn't yet been established publicly.
Interesting. Very interesting stuff indeed. Thank you very much for coming on. Sir Richard Dalton is a former British ambassador to Iran.